Alright, so I went out in my garage. I also went to the store. My wife's making me breakfast and we'd run out of bacon, so I went to the store and bought bacon. Anyway, so we're back. I have some shrink tube, but it may be a little too big for this thin wire. But that's the way it's going to be because I don't have any other shrink tube anymore. So I'm kind of stuck. I may just have to wrap it with electrical tape to protect it from shorting out. So got my soldering iron here all ready to go. My sponge is damp so I can wipe it clean for me. Let's see. Where's my wires at? Excuse me, sorry. Oh, right here. What I need to do is I need to pull this out a little bit and cut these guys off and strip the wire back, and then I'll tin it. Then I'll tin it and I'll join the wires together. So do it like that. I'm not going to show you every single wire I'm going to splice. I'm going to splice a whole bunch of wires. So I'll just give you an example of how I do it. And from there I'll just do it and then I'll shut the video off and we'll come back and I'll show you then the install of all the wires into the control box. So that way we don't have to deal with all this. You know, it's pretty boring watching me solder. You know, I understand that. So I'm not going to sit here and make you watch me sit here and solder, you know, 50 wires or whatever it's going to be to do all this. Because like I said, I'm also extending all my wires to make them longer so that I can put my control box in a different location than where my printer is. So I'm going to be setting up my Octopi here soon to do more than one printer. So I went with the Octo Client Pro on my phone, and I don't need that much. So let's see this. You know, cut about an inch of shrink sleeving. Like so. Put where the wire is that you just put solder on. Then we're going to solder these two together here in a butt splice. And maybe a little more solder on here to do this. Put a glob on the tip. Put it on there. Line up my two wires here. Heated it up, and they're joined together now with a butt splice. And then we'll put the shrink sleeve over like that. And let's see, where's my heat gun at? Grab my heat gun here. Plug it in. Get it warmed up. Get it on here and shrink that tubing down. And that shrinks over the wiring and protects it from shorting out. And that will keep it from going. And just do that again on the other side, the second half of this. We're going to butt splice the thing together. Solder on there. Take the second wire. Kind of twist those up a little bit. Kind of put some solder on that. Okay. Take about an inch or so out of there. Put on the water one. Grab my soldering iron again. Get a little bit of extra solder on here to get that so it heats up. Get the other one together here. That didn't go too good. Move around on me. Sometimes things move on you and you can't get them quite right. Try it again. Keep moving on me, damn it. The other one went so good, the second one's going to be a pain. Ouch. Hot. That didn't go very, that don't look too good. There, I got it. And my shrink tube came off somewhere. Probably on the floor somewhere. No? Yes. It's on the floor. Like that. Bring it over my wire. Grab my heat gun and shrink it back down again. Okay. So those are done. So it's just repeating that process again on the other two wires here, which are the wires that will go for my connector. Because I have to resolder the connector back onto this one. So that's actually doing 4 splices. 2 here, 2 here. But that's pretty much what we got to do over and over and over again. So when I have all the wires done, I'll come back with the video. Those of you sitting here watching me strip wire, tin wire, solder wire, shrink sleeve, or in this case probably electrical tape, because all the wires are now small and this shrink tubing is too thick for this. So unfortunately Home Depot and Lowe's does not carry shrink sleeve, so I have no place to go get it right now, and I'm not going to drive an hour to go get shrink sleeving just to get shrink sleeving. So that's where I'm at right now. This came off. I'm going to have to redo that again. Sucks ass, but that's what it is. I'll be able to push this down farther now that I got plenty of wire here. So, yeah. Let's see, anything else I need? I think I got it all. Okay, so that'll be it for now, and then I'll come back when I have all the wires done, which is going to be a while. I've got 4, 8 here, 2, 4 here, got 8. Oh, let's do it from here. From here, from the control box side. So I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 13, 17, 19, 19, and then 19 and 4, 23. I got like 23 wires to do here, and then the wires. So I got about 23, almost 30 wires I have to do. So I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do 30 wires of tinning and soldering and all that crap. So I'll let you, I'll come back to it when I have it all done. And we'll go from there. Thank you. Welcome to part 2 of the Creality CR10 dual extruder upgrade. This is part 2, which is the electrical. So we're getting ready to take apart our control box and we'll begin hooking in all the wires for the new dual extruder. I'll even go into and talk about replacing the board, which is the control board for this. I have the correct control board already in, but if you have just a CR10 and not a CR10S, then your CR10 board will not support dual extruder. You need a CR10S control board. The kit from TH3D contains the board, so you're all set if you buy the kit from TH3D. Obviously you could buy the Chiron or however you want to say it, dual extruder from E3D, but you don't get the whole thing. You don't get the motors, you don't get all the other stuff that come with it. So things you need that you'll still have to buy separately if you buy it from E3D. At least if you buy the kit from TH3D, you pretty much have everything you need and you're all set to go. Alright, so let's get started here. Here's the control box. I'm going to pull my SD card out just to make sure I don't accidentally damage it when I'm doing the work. I'll take that out, get it out of the way for right now. And we'll take the filament holder off, just because I don't want it to be in the way when I'm flipping the box around and doing other things. When I get to the point where I have to actually do stuff on the control board, I'll make sure I'm zoomed in close enough for you to see what is going on. As always, my parts go in my magnetic bin over here, so I don't lose them. Now the things that have to come off on this, there's 4 screws here. We'll take them off in a minute. We're going to take them off right away. We'll take the bottom cover off. But these 4 screws hold the power supply in place. They have to come out because you can't get to the board because the board is actually mounted on what is the top here. So to get to the board, you got to take the power supply out. So flip it over here and we'll get to the bottom here. As you can see, I'm going to zoom in a bit so that you can see a little better what I'm doing. So I'm going to take out these 5 screws here, and that's what will remove the bottom cover. Sometimes these ball type Allen wrenches, so the ball type Allen wrench has a little like ball on the end. You can see where it's cut away here at the very end. Sometimes they don't grip very well, that's why I have to turn the thing around. This screw is a little on the long side here on this corner. The other ones are all shorter. Again, put it in my little bin. So I'll do that one. And then we'll unscrew that screw. Like I said, these are short, much shorter. I'm going to flip this up so it's easier for me to get to the bottom here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing or not, but I'm just taking the screws off. So it's about, once you've seen one screw come out, you know how they all come out. I'm sure you can figure it out for yourself when you look at it, how to take the screws out. I think if you can't, if you can't figure out how to undo screws and take the cover off, then maybe this is not a task for you to even try. Okay, so that's all off. The bottom cover goes off to the side here to get it out of my way so that I don't have to worry about it being in my current workspace that I'm trying to work with here. Okay, so now you can see the power supply is right here. As you can see, you can't see the control board because the power supply is in the way. Now we're going to go through and we're going to remove the power supply. So undo the screws. The little magnetic tray that I have here, I actually bought at Harbor Freight and Tool. So it's not very expensive, it's fairly cheap. It's just a handy way of keeping track of your screws so they aren't getting lost and floating around on you. It's nice to kind of keep things organized. Okay, so now the power supply is undone. You have to take it out this way because that tab right here on that you see right here will stop you from bringing it out the other way. So you kind of tilt the supply over, get in there, and now you can see the control board here in the bottom of the box. So I'm going to kind of hook things up and kind of show you what I'm doing, but there's some things you're just not going to be able to see very well. So what I'll do is I will actually have a picture of the control board, and I'll list all the connections. Extruder 1, Extruder 2, Extruder 3, X, Y, Z, everything will be, I'll label it on the photo so you can see it. That way you don't have to kind of guess where things are. Okay, so first thing we're going to end up doing here, maybe what I'm going to do is I might just disconnect the supply for right now just to get it completely out of the way to make this easier for people to see what's going on. So I think that might be a good idea. I'm going to grab my, I wasn't going to do that originally, but I think it's a better idea for people to for you to be able to see what's going on. It's not like this is very difficult to do. The only thing you got to keep track of, because there is an extra red wire here, where red over here is 12 volts. Right here on this side of the supply is all 12 volt. These are your grounds. But this is your power coming in, your AC power coming in. It goes into the supply. So the red wire here goes to the switch, which actually then goes to the outlet for your wall supply, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mark with my marker on this red and this black that these are my PS lines, my power supply lines. So that way I don't get them accidentally mixed up with my 12 volt lines. So I'll grab my handy dandy pen here, my Sharpie pen. I'm going to put PS, or just P, and just remind me what they are. So that gives me my main power. And I know that these are 12 volt here. And I'm just writing 12 on them just for fun. I don't have to. I know the other ones are power. And then this is ground. Or return, whatever you want to call it. We actually, in the industry, electronics industry, call the black on a 12 volt supply a return line and not necessarily a ground line. Sometimes they'll call it analog ground, but I don't want it to be related to actual power supply ground. So you have a hot, you have a neutral, and then you have a ground typically on your power. For a 3-pronged power. That's US. I don't know about the European, that run 55 volt. Or I'm sorry, 100. They run 220 volt. I'm not sure about their connections on their power, hot, neutral, earth. But I imagine it's pretty much the same, since they basically the only difference they typically do is they use a different plug and use the same power supply by switching the switch from 115 to 230. It's funny how they changed the standard, because it used to say in the US 120 was our voltage, but they changed it to 115, and they used to say like the voltage for European was 240, and now they changed it to 230. So I think they found that it really wasn't quite as nominal as they thought it was back in the day when they first were setting up the electric grids in the different countries. Okay, so I'm moving my power supply out of the way so it's not in my way while we're doing work. Okay, so now we're down to where we can just really get to the control board here. You can see it's kind of hard to see anything in there because it's down inside of a well. And trying to get light in there and show it to the camera is quite difficult at best. So, the real changes are that we're just adding in these 2 wires here and an extra motor, which I need to figure out where that is right now. Where my extra motor wire is. This is my thermal stuff here, which is my this is my hot end, and this is my thermistor for the second extruder. And somewhere is my other motor. I know it's here. Follow my wires. Here it is. I don't have my extension wire on it yet, so I need to figure out where my extension wire for this is so that I can reach it. I know what I was going to do. So what I was going to do is I'm going to splice this wire in to that wire, which I haven't done yet. And when I splice the two together, then it'll be long enough for me to be able to reach all the way, just like the other wires that we're going to do. So I'll plug that in. What you're going to do is you're going to get this grommet out. So this is the grommet right here that your cables that don't go to the two circular connectors go through. So I'm going to pull this grommet out, which will allow me then to be able to more easily slide more wires in. So I'm going to slide this one in, which is my second motor. It says X, but I'm going to change. That needs to change. This is actually my extruder motor, and not the X-axis. I'm going to take these little tags off because I don't want to confuse it later. Let's see where my cutter's at. Excuse me. Grab a pair of cutters here, and I'll cut that off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write on the white connector with my pen that these are my knocking stuff over here. What do I do with my pen? Oh, there it is. So I'm actually going to mark on this wire what it is. That this is my E2M for motor. So E2M is what I'm calling that. And that's what's going to go through and into the box and get plugged into the second extruder motor input or output on the control board. So what I want to do is I want to get this in and put it through this grommet so that I can have it go into the box. A little tight because I got plenty of wires here already. So I'll get it through. It's going to be like this, a little tight work getting it through there. I'm almost there. Let me grab a needle nose here and I'll push it through. There. So now I got it through, and then it'll go into the box. And inside the box, it will go to motor drive number 2 for the second extruder. So I don't know if you can see it, but right here is E0, which is the extruder 0, and then right next to it is E1 for extruder 1. And those are the two motor controls for the two extruder motors. So I'm plugging this one in, and now he's plugged in, and that's pretty well got that one connected up. So now the next thing is to run these two wires, or these 3 wires, so the 2 wires for my high end, and the connector for my thermistor in through the same grommet. And we'll try and get them in there. Like this, it's tight, getting it through, but we'll get it. And there, I got it through. And I'll put these 2 also through. I'll get them in. And they're in and through. And then of course, we'll run those into the box. And once everything's in, we'll put the grommet back in the hole so that we seal the unit back up. We'll get those in. We're running these through the jumble of wires that are in here. And always the easiest thing. I see those 2 wires. There's my 2 extruder wires, or hot end wires, and there's my wire for the control. So now those are in. These are obviously going to go to, I believe it just screws right into a terminal block with these, and this plugs into a connector for the thermistor, and somewhere in here is the second extruder thermistor. I had to figure out which one it is. Fan V in, fan V in. Okay, so right here I have a row of 3 connectors. This one is TH2. So I'm assuming TH2 will be my hot end or my thermistor for extruder number 2. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to plug it into there, and that will give me my connections to that. And that was connected now. Now the only thing left is to put these 2 wires in for the second hot end, for the second extruder, or second nozzle. And I have a hard time reading the print on these, it's so small. So let's see. I can't read that. Okay, so I'm gonna have to pull up my pictures of this hot end because I can't really see it. It says heater here, but it says heater plus and minus. So I'm gonna kind of make the assumption that that's the second hot end connection here on the terminal block for connecting up the second hot end. Somewhere in here, got 2 yellow wires here that go somewhere. I don't know where they go. They go there. They go into this bundle, and then they go out and they go to the connector that has the hot end. Okay, so this is that's the 2 hot end wires that go right here at the end of this green terminal block. There's 2 holes. Plus is the one near the bottom here. Not that it matters, because the thermal heater block is not polarized. It doesn't care what direction you connect it. As long as current is running through it at 12 volts, it doesn't care what direction you connect it. So it's not important about what's plus, what's minus. So we'll plug that up, plug those in. Grab me a set of regular slotted screwdriver here. Open my set of screwdrivers here. And we'll get out a slot screwdriver. And we'll loosen those 2 up. So make sure I get them underneath there. Like I said, we don't care about polarity because there is no polarity on the heater block. It's a little tight getting things in here because of all the wiring that's already in. I'm just trying to get down and get under and into the connections here on it. Can't see what I'm doing. Get that in. Maybe. Okay, got that one in. And it came right back out. Okay, got it in. And now I need to tighten that screw down. Tighten the screw down. I'll make sure I got the wire clamped in it, which I do. Okay, so I have the first one in, got one more to put in. Got it in the slot, or in the hole. And then I'll tighten this guy down. Make sure it came out. Right back in. Tighten that. And I missed it. So I missed it, and so now I got to re-loosen everything up again. Put that back in again, try again. Well, that happens sometimes. You'll miss biting down on the wire because everything moves when you're trying to. It's so tight in here trying to do anything, especially when you have fairly large hands. There's one time where a woman would probably have have an easier job of doing this. Of course, the other way to do this is just take the whole board out and hook everything up to the board while it's outside of the box. And then you can much more easily see what we're doing. Okay, so now I got both those connected. So that actually completes the wiring of it. Let me put this grommet back on like we were talking about, so it's dressed up pretty, so it looks pretty when we're done. And we'll put that grommet back in. Okay, the grommet's back in now. And I'll hook my power supply back up. And power supply I'll hook back up again. What I want to be sure of, this says P for power, so that's my power there. So this is my ground wire, earth ground for the other connections. So it goes here, and we tighten our screw back down here. Where is that screwdriver? Where is that Phillips screwdriver? Oh, it's on the floor. So I got the Phillips screwdriver here, we'll tighten that back down, and earth ground will be connected. And then you just have the neutral and the L. I don't know what L means. That doesn't mean anything to me. Go back here. Typically, you know, I know they don't do things typically the way you do it here. Really, it should be a white wire and a black wire, and you have a neutral and a hot line. Now, I'm sure that what they did here, the neutral is black, which is weird. White is typically neutral in power. Since I've wired a few houses, I understand the wiring of power. Plus, being an electrical engineer, I understand it as well. Okay, so now we got that done. Take and hook up all of our 12-volt lines. Oops, I made a mistake, I think. Yes, I did. That was not the one that goes there. This red does not go here. That's actually one of our 12-volt lines. It's going to a control for the, that's 12-volt. That's power. Let's see if I do the wrong one on the other one. I think they did. Okay, so this comes through a switch from the power. So that's where that's at. I have that one connected to ground, like I said. There it says G. And this has a P on it for the ground for yellow, for neutral on that one. And then these go to my 12 volts on here, which is plus voltage on the power supply. So just start connecting them up and tighten them all down. And take another one. And it's very tight. They made the wires a little too short, in my opinion. You can ignore my opinion if you don't care, but I think they're too short. And I thought about, and I should have, went ahead and replaced those myself with longer wire to make it easier to work on the thing later. But, oh well, I didn't, so it's where it is. I'll put this guy up to that one. The last 12-volt connection. And then we'll hook up our couple of ground wires we gotta do. Just make sure I got everything right. Put that ground to go here. And tighten that up. We have one more ground to go. Put it right there. tighten it. And close the little door here that covers over the power supplies, the wires, so you don't actually hurt yourself later. Put this back in with the one side going in. Make sure that your switch for your voltage in the right place, because I have it in the wrong place, so I'm going to put it in backwards. So you see here's your 12 volt switch of the opening here on the side of the supply where that goes for your 230 115 selection. Put that down, put this over. Of course it's a little tight always getting it in. Okay, so now I got it in there. Put that down and in. Flip this. Line up my holes wherever the hell they are. See one of them, but I can't get it lined up yet. There, got it. Okay, so we'll grab our screws and we'll start putting it all back together again. Getting things to stay where you want them to stay when you're trying to hook them up is not always the easiest of things to do. Find the damn hole again. Nope, not going to find it. Sometimes it is a pain. Okay, got that one. Once you get one screw started, then everything will pretty much be lined up at that point. You don't have to hassle with it again if I get the damn screw to start. Come on. Just being a pain. Really being a pain in my butt right now, not wanting to go in. Okay, got it. Okay, so I got the first screw in. Then I just put the second one in. I don't tighten them all the way because I need to make sure everything lines up on the other side of the supply. But they should be fairly close. Lift the other end up. Tight. Get that guy started. Now let's roll in. Have a paint skin here. Why is it buckling the whole side of this thing? If there's something in there blocking my way on this, it's buckling the whole side in. Like the supply doesn't want to move over to the far edge for some reason. It wants to tilt. I don't get it, why it wants to do that. This thing is being a pain. Just doesn't want to work. Something's forcing the thing to turn on me. Probably one of these wires is too short and give me a bad time. Everything is really tight in here. Like I said, the wires are really too short, so when I had to twist it over, it caused a problem and caused it to shorten the wires too much. And so now it's like wants to fight me all the way. Instead of, there, I'll go this way. There we go. That feels better. And I don't have that. Really? Still do. What is it? Why is it doing that? Why is it not wanting to freaking go? What is in my way? That wire is too short. Look at that. Did I take the wrong one? No, that says 12. That says, yes I did. Okay, so I got one black wire swapped wrong. So that's why so the wire is too short when I have it wrong. I put one of them that's supposed to go to the actual 12 volt. Okay, so I got it all back, this part all back together. It's time to put the bottom cover back on again. And the bottom cover here, you have 5 screws that go in. There's 1 screw I have is too long. I don't know what happened, why I have a super long screw, but I do. So, as they say in the biz, c'est la vie, huh? So we'll take this. Start this one. Not tightening anything, just putting it loose because I got to move everything around to make it fit because they're the Chinese manufacturing of the casing is a little bit off on their stuff, and so it doesn't always fit exactly the way it should. I work with mechanical designers every day at work, and so they do a much better job of making sure that our mechanics fit better than what the Chinese guys tend to do. So like this guy is just a little on the, like this 6 right here, the edge right here is sticking up. The bottom cover fits outside, it's supposed to fit inside. So that becomes the problem with this. And you need to kind of pry it back out a little bit to get the cover to fit in where it should. Now I got the cover back inside where it should be. And then we'll put the super long screw back in. And get them in there. Turn around so I can tighten it. Tighten this one. Tighten that one. Tighten this one. And that pretty well covers all the electronics for this thing. I have my plug-in cable that I've already got everything wired into for the other hot end and stuff, which goes into the, as you see, there's like about 7 connections for this one, and there's a 7 connector on the top here that this plugs into, and it's keyed. And then you just screw the little back plate cover on, and it's plugged in, and then that's connected all up. And I have the wires here, the wire here. The other connector is right here. And that's the 4-prong one. This is actually like probably the 12-volt power that goes to the heater bed and all that kind of stuff. And plug it in and then screw that back on. And that's done. And that's it. The wiring for this is complete. I guess I could have made these a little bit shorter, but I didn't know how long they needed to be. I can actually hide that wire inside. I can just push it and feed it back inside the unit so they aren't so long. I wanted to make sure I had enough stuff here, like I said, to make sure the wires got out. They had to go through a different opening. But I can't fit them in the connector. There's not enough connections in the connector to put those wires in, so they had to go through that grommet, which is right here behind it, and into the box. So that pretty much finishes that all up. The only thing that's left to do really is to load the software for it. I'm using DH3D's unified software that he has. I'll go in there and I have to set it up for dual extruder and all that kind of stuff. So that's my next steps, which I haven't done yet, but that's coming up. Screw my little filament holder back on. So that finishes up the hardware, or the electrical part of this, the hardware side of it. So it only took like 4 different kinds of tools to really do the job. The Phillips screwdriver, a flat blade screwdriver, I'm not sure what size, how many millimeter, Allen wrench, and the other Allen wrench for the power supply. This one removed the bottom cover, this removed the power supply. So that's pretty much it for the hardware side of this. So now we just have a part 3 which will be coming up, which will be doing the software. And that's where we are right now. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope you found this informative and useful. Like I said, I'll have a picture that shows all of the connections for the board. It'll be in the video. And I will have a break in the video that will actually show, maybe at the end, probably at the end of the video, I'll have it show up, and I'll show you this is what it looks like, this is what it is, and then you can, yeah, then you'll see where all the connections actually go on the board. Like I said, you couldn't see it when it's inside the control box. It's so far in there, and it's hard to get good light in there. The only other way I could have done it, I'd need to buy like a ring light that fits around my camera, and then move my camera all the way in as close as I can get, and then the light would be right where the camera lens is basically, and it might show up that way. But I'm not going to go buy extra equipment to do that. So we got what we got, and like I said, I'll give you the picture with all the details. And thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on part 3, which will be the software. Have a great day.